There's an ambitious vision taking shape for the Indigenous community in the central Victorian town of Shepparton. The Rumbalara Aboriginal cooperative is halfway through building a site combining aged care and disability housing units with cultural and education programs. It's thought to be the first place in Australia where elders will be cared for in a nursing home and yet still be an active part of their community. Mary Gearan reports.
At dawn, on a near-freezing building site in Shepparton, it's hard enough for anyone to front up, let alone men who've been couch-side on welfare, sometimes for years. But that's what's been happening for the Rumbalara project.
Full-time employment is life-changing for a number of our employers here. You know, a lot of the boys have said to me, I feel really proud and honoured to be working here because this is a resting place for our elders, and alternatively, it could be our resting place as well.
It's got me out of the house, earning money, providing for my 2 children. And it just feels good to be a part of this here, part of history.
Confidence is a big thing. They all come here with their head sort of down, thinking they had no future. Future's the next thing. They can see something.
About 30 jobs for Indigenous workers have been created as part of the Rumbalara Aboriginal Cooperative project, an expansion of the existing medical service.
This is the main community living area.
It's thought to be the only site in Australia to combine aged care, palliative care, disability and assisted living units for the Indigenous with, eventually, a men's shed, a women's shed and an activity centre. The elders would be involved within that community until they passed away.
As inspirational as this project hopes to be, it's driven by a grim reality, the poor health of the local Indigenous community. These assisted living units will be needed for people as young as 45. The elder care or aged care facility will be required for Indigenous people as young as 50.
Part of it is their chronic disease with a lot of them, and the life expectancy over the years, and working with all our different programs is trying to do a lot of preventative programs and trying to extend their life expectancy.
Hi David.
Oh, come in Lena.
The softly spoken Lena Morris is a story in herself. It was 24 years ago that she joined Rumbalara as, she says, just a stay-at-home mum. She helped out in its aged care services and became inspired by the vision of the elders she cared for of an all-encompassing resting place.
They're not here you are, here's a nursing home, that's where you are. We want to keep the culture still going, the connectedness with the elders that are in the nursing home to the activity centre where they can all have lunch together or do some activities and still have that family connection.
Now it's becoming a reality.
It makes us feel, I suppose, proud to fulfil a dream of our past elders that wanted to change, and I suppose it's making a change for the rest of our community and even for myself and my children, great-grandchildren, for the future as well.
So, to deliver this vision came the Water Sun Building Company, committing to an Indigenous employment program, meaning after 2 years on the dole, Will Bryant Sr. is working alongside Will Bryant Jr.
Pretty proud to work with my son, so it's really good.
Give it a brush down, and especially here.
There's bricklaying supervisor Glenn McCormack, who says he's loving working with the Indigenous lads.
I get a lot more satisfaction out of it, just to know, how they do things and how we do things. There's not a great deal of difference, but I learned a few tricks when I was fishing with them, that's for sure.
56-year-old single dad Arthur Jackson hadn't had a job for 10 years.
What did you do with that first paycheck?
What did we do? I think we both got clothes.
And there's 28-year-old Paul Smith. Before taking on this role as labourer, the father of 2 was suffering from depression, had spent 4 months in jail, he says, for brawling, and was floundering.
Just drug and alcohol abuse, and that was because of a couple of personal tragedies and that in my family, and managed to overcome all that. Changed my life around within 12 months. I was living here, there and everywhere with people, and ended up getting my own house now, so, yeah, no.
Is that as a result of this job?
Yeah. my kids love it, you know, because we can go down to, you know, big supermarkets or whatever. They can get whatever they want now, you know, whereas before I was sort of struggling to make ends meet. Now they're all happy with me and I'm feeling a lot better myself and that too, knowing that I can live comfortable and provide for my family, I suppose.
A lot of their problems are out the door because they go home, they've got money to feed their kids, wife and kids. They get a regular income. You can see themselves, they represent themselves better. They're having better lunches. You know, they feel better, they look better.
Everybody ready for a bit of theory?
Yeah, the newcomers are taught skills theory on site and they're hoping for funding to get literacy classes as well. Mentors like Marvin Morgan, a concreting subby, says there's some tough love at play on this site, but tells the lads it's a far better introduction to the trades than they could expect elsewhere.
I've been on union sites and high-rise sites and being the only Indigenous on the site now. This is how I put it to these boys here, because there's been a couple of instances at the start where they thought some of the other tradies might have been picking on them because they were black. Yeah, that's the attitude you've got to break straight away, and having arguments and just short of having fist fights. And I said to the boys, well, if you're going to do that every time someone, you know, calls you a black so-and-so or whatever, I mean, what you've got to do is go to your supervisor. You've got to be less sensitive about it. Don't look to throw punches because once you do that, you're going to be out of a job.
The project is still years away from finishing and hasn't come without hiccups. A letter was circulated with rumours that the site would attract druggies, alcoholics and drive down the value of the local real estate. Rumbalara elders hope that in building this site they'll prove a point, that in building a place for a dignified end to life comes perhaps more dignity for everyone.
Just basically tell them that, you know, your parents and grandparents and uncles and aunties will be staying in here, so you want to be doing a good job.
I really enjoy working out here for our people, and it's really it's a good bonus. Yeah.
Mary Gearon reporting.